Welcome in, guys. Welcome, welcome. Welcome in, welcome in. Go ahead and share the live with at least 10 plus friends. We're going to get started momentarily. Let's go. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started shortly. Go ahead and share the live with at least 15 friends. We can get some more people in the room. Let's go ahead and share the live. I'm going to share the live as well. Let's go ahead and get this live shared out to as many friends as possible. Welcome, Andrew. Let's share this live out. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna keep sharing the live. We have a giveaway today, guys. Y'all might want to share that live. Alexa, stop music. All right. Welcome, welcome. We're on a little early, trying some stuff. Hey, Serena. Hi, Kyla. Welcome in. Let's get... Oh! Figured I pop on a little earlier. Had a few things that I'm working on the back end. So We're going to test some stuff out. If you guys want, you can go ahead and share the live with at least 15 plus friends. My surgery is in 2 days. Congratulations, friend. Congratulations. I'm super happy for you. I'm going to have to decline these other invites. I don't know why. Welcome in. Chris, my condolences, friend. Condolences, my love. Sending you a big hug. Hey, Gracefully Fit. Welcome in. Are you nervous about your surgery? 16 pounds down on pre-op. Amazing. That is awesome. You're off to a fantastic start. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the live. So crowd participation is essential. We're going to have a giveaway today, and we're going to have our high engaging members in the chat be entered into this giveaway. So it is important that we share the live. Welcome in, Bariatric Bubba. I won't miss seeing some of my favorite. Oh, thank you. Thank you for popping in here. You guys are awesome. Keep sharing that live. We're a little early. I got on a little early. I had some technical things I wanted to test out. So we're a little early. But nonetheless, I'm super excited to see you guys in here. We have an awesome guest today. I mean, literally, we want to fill up the room because this is someone I've been looking forward to speaking to, who I've not had the opportunity to really have a one-on-one with. So I'm excited. Hey, Barry Boo. Welcome in, my love. If y'all could share the live with at least 15 friends, that would be awesome. You can send it to more than 15 people, but it'll only let you send 15 at a time. So that's live. Listen, I should be in Hawaii, girl, not in no Texas right now. Welcome in. Thank you guys for sharing the live. I'm going to keep sharing as well. Let me go ahead and share with another 15. You can do 15 at a time. So I'm going to share with the next 15 friends. Get some folks up in here. We're going to be talking to Miss Moba Sherry today, which is kind of a big deal because I haven't really seen her on too many panels. I know she has her own podcast. She's got challenges that she does on her own. So I am honored and excited to have her up on the show today. So do any of you guys follow Moba Sherry? Master of Badassery? Hi, Tara. Welcome. I'm literally like half asleep, but also I got my little iced coffee nearby. So we're going to do great. Yes. So it's funny. I'll give you guys a story. And I was talking to one of my friends. You guys know who he is, Rab, right? He's like, "Oh, Shar, your energy reminds me of Sherry." And I was like, I feel like I've seen Sherry, but I don't think I've actually had a one-on-one with her. He's like, "You gotta get her on the show. She's awesome." And I was like, "All right, Rab, I'm gonna get her on the show." But shout out to my team. They were able to lock her in for the show. What's up, Kia? Oh man, shout out to Kia. She's looking fabulous. I'm so proud of her and her progress. So yes, Sherry has great energy. I've watched her. I've never had like the one-on-one interview with her before, but I'm excited to get a chance to chat with her today. Kia, I'm looking right at you. Kia looks amazing. So let's celebrate Kia. Drop some love in the chat for Kia. She is crushing her weight loss journey. She's showing up to that gym. She's making it happen. I'm super proud of you, Kia. Super duper proud of. Not only is she my Taurus twin, but she's just out here really inspiring a community. You drop some eggplant emojis for Kia. Eggplant emojis for Kia. She looks amazing. Let's go ahead and tap that screen. We're at 2.1 thousand likes. We're going to do really great tonight. We have an awesome guest. For those who aren't familiar with the show, I'm live every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific time. I talk all things bariatric and beyond. For those who are not really familiar with the bariatric piece. Bariatric is anyone on a weight loss journey, whether that is the surgery, whether that is you're on a GLP-1, or just lifestyle changes, which we all kind of find intersectionalities amongst all of those different things. So yeah, so shout out to all my folks on a journey. Yes, Tony's another Taurus twin, and we Siamese birthday Taurians. Yes, our birthdays are coming up soon, so it's gonna be a big deal. We might make a whole thing of it. I haven't decided yet. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's keep sharing the live. We're gonna bring up the guests momentarily. We don't want to you don't want to miss this one. I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. This is about to be epic. You know why? Because there's nothing like strong women coming together for a common cause. Am I right or am I right? Okay, just saying. Just saying. My guest is in the building. Welcome in, Sherry. Hey, Jessica. So a few reminders before we bring up the guests. We have the Berry Mail Experience. They are live every Taco Tuesday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific time. You don't want to miss them. Right after the BME show, you can turn right over to the Mental Health Shop Talk with Fadeaway Ryan, which is directly after the show, unless there's some changes. But he'll definitely post it on his end. But nonetheless, hey, Stevie, welcome in, welcome in. See a lot of friendly faces in the chat. Thank you for sharing the live, guys. This is awesome. We're going to get rocking and rolling momentarily. Let me also remind you guys, if you're going to sit around for the show, there is a giveaway happening at the end of the show. So participation is key. If you are here, my mods are in the chat, seeing who's engaging, who's spreading love and positivity in the chat. We have an awesome giveaway courtesy of our wonderful guest. So shout out to our guest. We're going to give her some love soon. In a few minutes, we're going to bring her up, show her some love. But nonetheless, thank you to everyone who is in the chat. The chat is always on fire. If you guys have questions in the chat, make sure you drop those questions in there. My mods will catch those questions and then they will pass them along to me. So that way I can get those questions answered. The guys of BME, they always put a little alert so I can look back at those questions. So please do not hesitate to ask the questions you want to ask. In addition to that, there's so many things happening. JBY, the Just Be You Awards are right around the corner. So if you haven't gotten your tickets for that, I'm gonna need you to get that ticket. April 12th, St. Louis, Missouri. I will be there from the 10th through the 13th. The event happens April 12th. There's some stuff happening before the event, which is the Wellness Day, where I think they might still have Zumba. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Okay, period. That's what you do. You get your ticket. You get that JBY ticket. It's going to be an entire vibe. I'll be on the pink carpet, giving y'all love, sprinkling y'all with a whole lot of. Be on the lookout for those alerts. Yes, I will be on the lookout for those alerts. So you guys ask your questions, whatever questions they may be. I will try my best to get to all of them. So don't shoot me up if I miss something, but you could always inbox it to me and I will always get that question answered for you, either on or off the show. Sounds good? Still trying to see. Listen, I'm gonna need you to let me know what we need to do to get Kia at JBY. Who else wants to see Kia at JBY? I know I do. In addition to that, if you haven't gotten your multivitamins, guys, take your vitamins. It is imperative that on the journey, you stay on top of your vitamins. So I have a code for you guys, of course, because a win is a win is a win. And I like a good discount. So VSG Bestie will save you a couple dollars off your order. This one literally tastes like candy. So be mindful, it is a vitamin, so don't do the most like me, because sometimes I'm like, did I take my vitamin today? And I'll take another one, so don't do that. Just take the adequate amount. And these are awesome. They actually really taste really, really good. So I'm excited about some other new stuff happening at ProCare. So I am not at liberty to say what it is yet, but if you haven't signed up for their newsletter, you might want to do that. because they got some new stuff popping off over there, and I will never steer you wrong. So, and it's some good stuff too. So, yeah. Are we ready for the guests? Because I think I got through everything. Oh, no, I did. I have one more thing. Whew, almost forgot. Talk Bari to Me is doing a Monday morning walk. March. Is it the Monday March? Monday March walk. So join us on Mondays. The flyer is on the TBTM page so we can walk and talk and keep each other uplifted in the month of March. I am currently working on getting back down to my pre-baby weight. So in addition to my working out at the gym, my walks were super helpful when I was doing my walks. So I do want to incorporate those back into the equation now that the weather is starting to be a little bit more agreeable. So I definitely want to incorporate that back into the mix. So if you want to join us for the walk, this will be hosted through the TBTM page and or one of my mods, which is Miss Arisa. So if you haven't followed Arisa, go ahead and give her a follow. Also, make sure you follow Drew Bari and the guys of the Bari Mel Experience, Tony D, WT Bari, Big E, Fade Away Ryan. They got all the men in the community. At this point, all the men in the community are Bari Mel Experience. So definitely make sure you follow all of them. A lot of them are in the chat. So check them out. So I'm ready to bring up the guests. Are we ready? Let me know. Drop some flame emojis in the chat. That way I know you're ready. Also, make sure you shared the live with at least 10 to 15 friends because why not? We're going to drop some gems today. So we got some flame emojis in the chat. Okay. I think y'all are ready. It sounds like you're ready. Let me make sure my volume is good on my end. Yes, volume perfect. Emojis. Okay. All right. So since you guys are ready, I'm ready. I think it's time to bring up the guest. So I'll tell you guys, this lady is someone who I'm super excited to finally connect with one-on-one, someone who inspires the community, does these amazing things within the community to uplift others. So this was someone that just naturally, I felt like our paths were going to cross at some point. So I'm super excited that she has taken a slice of her time and gave it up to the Talk Bari to Me family. So we appreciate you, friend. Let's go ahead and bring her up. Let's see. Y'all, this should have been like queued up. My bad. Let's go.
Hi.
Look at you. So beautiful.
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be a part of this today.
Okay, purple shadow. I had on green eyeshadow yesterday. I almost had on purple shadow. We would have been in sync.
Which is so funny because I had green yesterday and then I was like, no, I don't want to do green 2 days in a row. So we did purple today.
Yeah, purple's beautiful. I love it. It looks really good.
Thank you.
So Sherry, I'm so excited. All right, I got to fangirl a little bit because I've been watching you do these challenges. I've watched you on panels with a couple of like mutual friends, and I'm like, this girl, where does she get her freaking energy from? How does she like stay this motivated? Like, oh my gosh, like I'm really excited to finally get a one-on-one with you. Like, seriously.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying you could have had more one-on-ones if you were doing the challenges with us. So I'm just saying, like, if I'm coming into your world, I expect at least one night you come into my world and see what it's all about.
Okay, listen, you guys have been warned that if I join this challenge, be ready for the fire that comes out of the back end.
Okay, but it's all love shots. I want to put that out there. Like, it's all love shots, but I think that you would fucking, excuse me, I think you would freaking kill it.
Yeah, you can first. Okay,
I don't know what the rules are, but I would love to see you join us one day and just see what it's all about.
Okay. I'm gonna get it together because you did challenge me before, and I was like, okay, I might do it. But then I saw the work, and I got so intimidated. Let's talk about that for a bit because for me, when I see these challenges, I love that they're happening because the community needs it, right? But at the same token, it's like when you're in the chat, and maybe some of you guys in the chat can relate to this. You're like, damn, like, should I join? Like, I don't know, like, what would you say to someone looking at one of your panels, kind of like, I want to join, but I don't know.
Here's the thing, like when it comes to fitness, it's so overwhelming, and anybody who's ever had any kind of weight issues before has been so afraid to go to the gym because we think that people are staring at us or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we start to learn that nobody's looking at you at the gym. They have the same insecurities that you do. But 2 years ago, I was in the middle of finishing the 75 Hard series, and I was just documenting my journey. I wasn't doing challenges or anything like that. And in January, there was like a national planking challenge, through the military or something like that. And so Val had suggested that we do that. And I was like, I'm already doing 75 hard, but you know what? I got to get a workout in anyway. Why don't we just do it? There's something about working out with friends. And I don't know if I see videos all the time of people on their walking pads or going on walks. When you're walking with someone and having a conversation, it doesn't feel like a workout. It feels like you're shooting the shit with your friends. And before you know it, 30, 45 minutes goes by. So why not do that in a fitness element and work out together? None of us are professionals. We're just people that wanted to work out together and just try to better ourselves and pass the time. And it just started with this little planking challenge that we did in January. And when the month was over, everyone's like, what's next? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think this through. Like I was just doing this for me or whatever. And then it just completely blew up from there. And so we did planks, we did wall sits. I remember the first July, we did 1,776 push-ups in the month of July. And we were just trying to think of fun ways to do fitness to show people it doesn't have to be tedious. It doesn't have to be daunting. It doesn't have to be afraid. You can find fun ways to do it. And also, I'm a firm believer in fake it till you make it with the energy level. And I know that if I have the energy up there, then people will match my energy. And so sometimes that's all the energy I have that day is for that 30-minute live. But that's what we need. It's about community and doing things together and bettering ourselves together. Why not have fun with it?
Yes, we got a lot of folks in the chat says, I love to work out with my besties. There's something about community when it comes to this. Absolutely. I have to agree. Now, Sherry's not new to this. She's true to this. She's been doing this for a while now. You're like 10 years out at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm about 10 and a half years post-op from VSG and about 2 years since been doing challenges on here.
Since you're 10 years out, I just trying to think back because I had the lap band back in 2011 before I had my revision to the sleeve. There wasn't a lot of community at least not that I can remember. Did you have that experience?
No, 10 years ago, there was no TikTok. There was no bariatric community on Insta or any of the apps. There wasn't even back then, we didn't even have the Facebook support groups. I had done some research. I found 1 or 2 blogs on people that had talked about bariatric, and there was a couple of things on Pinterest. I used Pinterest to find recipes and stuff, but there was nothing. So because I had nothing to go on when I had the surgery, I just blogged about everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I just kept track so that maybe one day if somebody else I knew was having surgery, I can help that one person, not knowing it was going to become what it's become over the last 10 years. But yeah, I had nothing back then to go on.
It's crazy. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, I think I may have been, and I know the lap band had its own about it, but I think had I had community then, I probably would have been a lot more successful then than I was. Well, as much as I am now, but I don't know that I would have been able to do as much as I've done without the community. Did you have any support? Now, considering we didn't have TikTok, did you have support at home from anyone at all?
Yeah, my husband at the time was the most supportive person out there. He bent over backwards for me. He brought the recliner into our bedroom so that at least we can sleep in the same room. He would purposely close the door and go on the other end of the house to make food. He would just so I wouldn't be smell anything or be tempted. He bent over backwards. But it doesn't matter how supportive someone is unless they've gone through it. They can't truly relate. And I'll never forget on day 3. I finally decided to watch TV. I was tired of sleeping on and off for 2 days. And I started watching TV and everything was food. Every commercial was food. Every television, I was watching Friends and Joey was eating food. And then I would watch a movie and it was food. And then there was this I'll never forget. There's a Little Caesars commercial that had this nacho cheese topping and it was a pretzel crust. And I saw the same commercial I counted it 13 times that day, and I had a full-blown meltdown, and I was hysterical, and I was crying, and my husband's like, why are you crying? And I'm just looking at this commercial, and he goes, it's a Little Caesar. Like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm gonna have this. And I just like had this, I was like, I was never gonna eat again. And he just could not understand it. And he would try his best to be like, focus on the big picture, why we're doing this and everything. I'm like, you don't get it. And unless you've been there, I don't miss that. I don't miss that.
So shout out to Little Caesars for being that goddamn persistent. Because
Oh,
13, god
that
damn.
marketing that day, my God. If I had not had surgery, I would have ordered a pizza that day. But
Oh man, I know for some people they had a little bit of a hard time with that initial transition after surgery. I know for me, I thought I was going crazy. Like at one point, I had really high highs, really low lows. No real like complication per se. Did you experience like any complication or any issues with mental health after weight loss surgery?
not in the beginning, no. But I had gotten, because I had nothing to base it on, I had nothing to compare it to. I was already a firm believer in mindset. I'd watched The Secret many years prior. I was really big on vision boards. So as nervous as I was about the surgery, I made a specific vision board prior to surgery, and I called it like an NSV bucket list. And it was like all of these things I wanted to cross my legs. I wanted to go in a regular bathroom stall at a restaurant or sit in a booth. And I just made this board and I just put all these different pictures on there. So every time I was getting nervous before surgery, that's what I would fixate on. And I would pick one item on the thing that was crossing my legs, and I would close my eyes and I would visualize what it would feel like to cross my legs. And so because of that, by the time surgery came, I was still nervous. I'd never had surgery before or since. I haven't had surgery since. And so that was the only thing that kept me sane. But I noticed about 3 years post-op, I had lost all my weight. I was maintaining for a long time, but I thought I was invincible at that point. I had all of this energy. I had all of this, I can do anything attitude. And at that point, my grandma had dementia. And so I was the one taking care of her 24/7. And I kept adding more and more to my plate. And I was working 2 jobs at the time, and people kept telling me to stop. And I said, no, I got this. I'm invincible. Like, I lost 175 pounds. I can do fucking anything. And then one day the universe said, no, you can't. And I had a nervous breakdown. And so I was incapacitated. So I don't think it was surgery related, but I think it was partially surgery related because I thought I became invincible at that point. And it was a humbled reminder that anything can change at any given moment.
This is true, and that's one of the things I harp on. And I know people probably like this girl's fucking annoying, but like really developing that mindset is so key with the surgery, even without surgery, because life is gonna life regardless. Like we're not exempt from it because we're bariatric. We're not like life is not like we're gonna not bother her because she just went through a surgery. Like that's not how this works. Like what kind of things do you do? Maybe do you have any like daily rituals or routines that you do like to kind of get yourself in the right mindset to start your day?
I'm definitely a list maker. I have lists out. I have lists on my phone. I have lists on my computer because I get overwhelmed very easily. And anybody who knows me, I get an idea and then I become obsessed with it, and then I take on way too much than I can chew, and then I get overwhelmed. So I'm really big on a list, and even like 10 years out, anybody who's had surgery knows that this is not a lifelong, it's not an immediate fix. It's not going to fix it. So I still struggle to this day with making sure that I'm eating right and getting enough exercise and getting my water in. So for me personally, lists are huge. And I was extremely stubborn because I did everything before surgery and nothing would work. And so when I had surgery, this was my last option. So I took it kind of like militantly seriously. I set timers every 10 minutes to make, like, from day one, I wanted to make sure that my fluids were getting in, that I was getting my protein. I was very neurotic about it. But again, I had no one to tell me, or give me tips and tricks.
Right.
So I think I work better with structure. When I don't have structure, I flounder and I spiral really hard. So I still struggle with that to this day. But like, I think in the last couple of months, I've kind of finally found a rhythm again. And so just having a concrete plan that works for me. That's not going to work for everybody else, though.
I like that you said that, and in this current time, because I think people think that oh, everything's just supposed to be perfect. I had the surgery, everything's, I'm going to look good. Life's going to be great. Like, we have to realize life is like a lot of ups and downs. It's not a linear path by any means. And you have to be very honest with yourself when you are having those shitty moments. Like, I said to myself, because I just recently, I had a passing in my family, and I'm actually going this week to a funeral. So I was like, shit, like, how do last week my show, I sat there and cried on the show, but I'm like, you know what, bitch, at least you showed up. So like, these are the things, like, we're gonna have things happen that are within or without our control, but it's how you show up for yourself that's important. What is gonna keep you in the game, right? So what I keep very present, and the why is one of those things that come up quite a lot for me. My why was, I didn't want to die. I knew, I have 3 kids. I'm like, they need me here. One of my kids is special needs. So once I saw that I was on the same medication as my grandfather, I was like, fuck no. Like, that makes no sense. So what is something that keeps you, like, what's your why? Let's go into that. What is your why? Because at this point, you're 10 years out. You can throw in the towel at any time, but you don't do that. Why?
I mean, the original why to have the surgery was my little brother, my god brother, passed away unexpectedly at 27 years old. And him and I we both were one of 2 kids at the time. And we were always the heavy ones. We were always the overweight ones. So I remember being 8 years old and we'd be in the garage trying to lift weights because we were going to get healthy and stuff. And to have your world completely come crashing down in a second with no warning or anything. And we found out afterwards, he had a lot of health issues. His arteries were clogged at 27 years old. And about 6 months after he died, I had gotten blood work done, and they said I had type 2 diabetes, I had fatty liver, I had high cholesterol, and all I kept hearing was Brian, like, I'm next. If Brian can die at 27, then I can die at 33, or I think 32 at the time, easily. And the doctor wanted to put me on all these medications. And because he didn't have insurance at the time, he was taking a lot of medications he probably shouldn't have been taking, just trying to help his pain to go down. So I was so afraid to take anything, even Tylenol. Like, what if I take Tylenol and I end up like Brian? And I would just get so neurotic about that. Yeah. So I was so terrified to take like 4 or 5 new medications. And then this medication will counteract this one. And I asked her, I said, look, what if I just take this seriously and I cut everything out and I work my ass off? Like, is there hope for me? And the doctor looked me dead in the eye and she goes, even if you lost all the weight at this point, you're now going to be diabetic forever. Oh my God. And I told my husband, I said, look, the numbers weren't high enough to be detrimental to my health. I said, please give me 6 months. Let me prove what I'm fucking capable of. And if after 6 months, if I can't reverse this shit, I will take the medication. I will accept my fate because I can't go back in time and change the mistakes that I've made. Right. And he goes, fair. He's like, but the minute you start getting any issues or any like thing, he's like, you go on the medication. I said, fair. You give me 6 months. And I cut everything out for 6 months. I cut out all sugar, all carbs. It was like meats and proteins and everything. And 6 months later, I went to the doctor. They took the blood. There was no more fatty liver. There was no more high cholesterol. There was no more diabetes. And she's like, see, Sherry, this is why you have to take the medication. And I was able to look at her and I'm like, I didn't feel the fucking prescription. Okay. But the problem is after 6 months, I lost 20 pounds of water weight the first month and nothing came off. So I knew it was not for a lack of trying. So at that point, my why is I don't have another option. I need to now live for me and Brian because we had all these plans together when we got older. So he was always my why through the surgery. Nowadays, obviously our why is shifted. Like, I'm now in my 40s. I'm alone. Like, in this, no one's going to take care of me. There's no one that can tell me what to eat and what to do. I am solely responsible for myself. So my why is just for me. Like, I ain't ready to go yet. I have too much shit that I want to do. And being part of a community and watching other people fulfill their goals and watching in real time people doing things they've never done before, that's what fuels me every day. So the more that other people are living their best life, the more that inspires me to want to keep going. So my why is not just myself, but it's for everyone else who's around me too.
I love that. There is power in proximity because your journey has an impact on people that you have no idea.
Mm.
Like, there are people in other states, countries for that matter, who could very well be watching you. And they are. Sometimes they'll reach out, sometimes they won't. But you would be surprised. I've been in spaces where I'm like, I didn't know this many people knew me. Like, I was at a meetup and I was like, oh shit, like people actually know who I am. Like, do you ever have those moments like, you didn't even realize the impact you had?
Oh, I'm telling, like when I joined TikTok, there was this whole bariatric community on TikTok that I had no idea even. And by then, I was already like 8 years post op, 7 year, 8 years post op, and I was like, what value can I bring? I'm not a newbie anymore. I can't like go over the struggles that you guys are having. And then you start going into these lives, and then there would be times where I would be in the chat, and people were like, "Hey Sherry, how are you?" And I'm like, like it was, I spent my whole life in the shadows. Like I was always in the back of the class. I was always the shy one. I was always the one that people never noticed. I was the girl that was walking to a restaurant one time and there was a man holding the door open for two bombshell LA chicks, because I'm born and raised LA girl, and let those girls in, saw me and let himself in the door first. Like that was the life that I lived my whole life. And then all of a sudden, these strangers in all these different parts of the world know who you are. It was, I'm telling you, it's to this day, it's still surreal for me
And
that,
it's
that anybody knows who I am.
No, and it's funny because when I first came across you, I was with the Canada crew, and I was like, so I automatically was like, oh, she's like in Canada or something, and but that's how big of the impact we have in this community, and you don't have to have a large following to have an impact because I think a lot of people get so caught up with, I don't have 10,000, I don't have 20,000 followers. It's not about that because you can touch one person, and that person can make that message go beyond places you've even been at. So I had a conversation with a young lady from Australia, and I'm like, I've never even been to freaking Australia,
Yeah.
but now I have a friend there. So like that shit is cool to me. I love, love, love TikTok. I was so fucking sad when they said they were gonna shut it down, but I'm also of the mindset of pivoting. Like, you know what? If this shit don't work, I'm gonna pivot. So
And that's what I said too. Like everyone, like, I'm not gonna lie, my whole business is through TikTok. So if TikTok had gone away, I would. But I kept saying, if it goes away, just like anything else, we have to adapt to it. Is it gonna suck? Are we gonna bitch and yes, but at some point, how long are we gonna bitch for? We have to find a solution. And I started working behind the scenes. Like, are there other apps that can have the same benefit? And if that means building it all up from the ground up again, then we do that. And through TikTok or any social media, you build connections outside of the app. So somebody who wants to find you will always eventually be able to find you through like, the 6 degrees of separation kind of thing. And so I wasn't worried about it. I was bummed. I mean, that was the longest 14 hours of my life. Just out of habit, I just kept opening TikTok. It doesn't work.
I was one of those dumbasses that deleted the app. So then I was really fucking pissed when I couldn't get it back in the app store. I was like, fuck.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, seriously. I know a question came up in the chat about being the shy friend. I want to like expand on that a little bit because being a bigger person, you take on this identity. Some people, I won't say everyone, but some people take on this identity of either being the funny friend, the, behind the scenes friend. Did any of that change for you, or were you always this like big personality all your life?
No, I was timid. I was extremely shy. I remember like in school, like if people wrote in your yearbook going, I didn't know who you were, or like I didn't know you were even in my class. Like I just did not exist. I grew up wanting to be a triple threat in Hollywood. I wanted to be this Hollywood starlet and I had these big dreams, but like in reality, like I just sat in the class. But in my personal circle of friends, I was the funny one. I was the sarcastic one. Or as you get older, like in my 20s, I started making fun of myself because I knew that that's what they were thinking. So I felt like if I beat them to it, then it kind of broke the ice a little bit. And then it kind of created this trajectory of decades of self-deprecated humor in the hopes of like making other people laugh or that they're going to like you better. Cause like, oh, she laughed at herself. Okay, that's okay for us to laugh at her too then. And it was like this defense mechanism. But no, I was not what you see on the lives. That was not me growing up at all.
So I'm gonna take a little water break, guys, because we're at the halfway mark. But I want to touch on that. I don't want to leave this because I think it's really important because one of my main goals with this particular live, because we're kind of on the same wavelength when it comes to mindset and just developing that mentality about who you are and how you show up for yourself. So I'm gonna drink a little something here, a little
Yes, ma'am.
electrolytes, because I'm good for being dehydrated. So I gotta stay on top of these things.
Water is the worst thing for me. I still struggle to this day with getting all my water in.
Seriously, I don't. For some reason, I get really nauseous with just plain water. Like I have to put either fruits or something in it because I can't drink it. Do you have any issues with like any of the water?
I can't do the water enhancers, like anything that has like the sugar-free stuff in it. It gives me like migraines and headaches. So and they didn't have all those options back then. Back then it was just plain water and that was it. Maybe like a little Gatorade, but no. I mean, I drink greens every day and I drink emergency every day for electrolytes and vitamins, but other than that, it's just boring ass water.
God damn it. It's so expensive to get that shit pumped in your veins too, like the freaking IVs. I pay like 200 and something dollars and I've had to do it like 4 times. And I was like, fuck no, I'm just gonna drink this shit. Hey,
That's why there's times even today, like once in a blue moon, if I've been falling behind, because you can feel your system acting up when you're not drinking enough water. So I have gotten in the habit of setting timers. And like you said, being part of the community, I watch you guys on your lives all the time. And it's like, okay, water check. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. I haven't had water in like an hour.
Shout out to Barry Mother. I know we probably owe her $25 for she patented some or trademark rather some of these phrases. I don't know if water check was on the list. Let me know. So I won't say it anymore.
Oh, she said one of them was.
Okay, yeah. But we love Barry Mother. Make sure you check her out, the Barry Girls. It's a duo, mother-daughter duo. I love to see mother-daughter duos come together doing amazing things. I like to see women coming together doing amazing things. Did you have a content creator that you looked up to when you came into this TikTok space, or was there not a whole lot of them when you first started?
When I joined, like there was already all these content creators. I didn't really know who all the big creators were. Like people would talk about them, like I don't know who that is. I remember the one I do remember is I remember Teresa, and it was right. She had made that video of her sitting on the bed right before her surgery, and people kept talking about her, and they were sending me her videos, and I watched her, and I watched the pain in her eyes when she was making this video. And anybody who knows, I'm not an overly emotional person, and I was like verklempt. I was like, I don't know who this woman is. I need to meet this woman. Like, and I just
that video.
Like I just and I could never relate to that. Like I had my own struggles, and obesity like has, been detrimental to my life for so many years. But at that capacity, it was just a reminder that as bad as our situations are, there are people who have it far worse than us that we can't even relate to. And so she was probably one that I just had so much respect for when I saw that video, and I would watch her lives. But other than that, there wasn't like a lot of big creators. And around the time that I was joining, there was a lot of like cliques happening, like, with creators and stuff. And I was like, I was never part of a clique. I just wanted to be cool with everyone. And then over time, you notice that the bigger people become, the more like, I don't know, it just kind of brings this energy, because you get a lot of haters on there. You get a lot of negative attention, and then you get like a lot of drama. And I was like, I wasn't about that. So I was like, I'm just going to stay in my own little bubble here, and I'm just going to, focus on that. She was so beautiful. It was amazing.
No, I love that. Shout out to Teresa Parent. I've also been following her for a little bit as well. And she's super humble and always in the community. And she still does, I know she's in the Transformation Academy for Pop Recovery. There's a few other folks. Gracefully Fits in there too. Amanda Register. So they've got like a pretty cool roster over there at Pop Recovery. So shout out to them at Pop. Barry Mother is in the building, guys. Make sure you show her some love. I wanted to go back to kind of a little piece that stuck in my head about who you were versus who you are. Do you think it's possible to reinvent yourself after this journey?
I honestly, I think that we are always reinventing ourselves. Like none of us are going to be the same person we were a year ago or 10 years ago, because every day we're faced with new situations, new relationships, new experiences that kind of define our character. Like we all have hard times. And so I think that we're constantly evolving. I don't think that, like people will say like, I wish I can go back in time and change things, or what would you change when you go back? And I always say I wouldn't change anything. If I changed anything that I changed in the past would not bring me where I am today. Now, are things I would love to improve upon right now or be in a different place, you know, physically and mentally? Of course, but where would I be if any of those things had changed back then? Like the pandemic taught us anything, that the rug can get pulled out from underneath us at any given. It don't matter how much money you have or what color your skin is or what religion you are or whatever. We were all affected by that, and so that 4 years, like you know, truly defined all of us and like changed all of us in some way.
So true, so true. I know you in your book you talk about unzipping, having this thought of unzipping and coming out into this new person. I felt like that was super powerful because I don't think you were just talking about your weight when you were saying that. It's just like who you are today. I want to just ask you because I know if this comes up kind of often. Do you think it's fair to say we changed or we just found out who we were all along and just kind of discovered that person? Because that's always like
That's a good question. I like me personally, I just think that we're always changing. I think like, you know, evolution is always changing. Relationships are always changing. Like we're just always I don't know if I want to say changing, we're just always adapting. We're always adapting and going down different routes.
yeah.
I like that weird like butterfly effect kind of thing.
I was thinking to myself because I'm like I've always been who I am, but I am different in a sense of I feel like I was confident, but I think I'm more confident and I think I'm able to show up more boldly, right? Because I felt like before being a bigger body person, I almost kind of I didn't realize I was holding myself back in so many
Yeah.
spaces and places until now I'm like, bitch, why didn't you do that shit before? And to your point about I don't want to change anything from my past. Maybe I just wasn't prepared in that moment to step out in that way. Is there anything now that you're like, you know what, I want to step out and do this shit? And, or maybe that you've already done it. Was there something that you already like stepped out boldly after you've had surgery?
I think the biggest thing was setting boundaries after surgery. I like so many of us who have had any kind of weight issues or any kind of like addiction or anything like that. We were people pleasers. We hid behind our vices or, you know, especially like I was over 350 for so many years that I bent over backwards for people because I just felt like if I didn't, they wouldn't like me because they don't like me for my looks, you know. They like me for what I can contribute or what I can bring to them. And it got to a point where I was living in other people's worlds for so long, I didn't even know what my world was or what that would even look like. And after a while, the first time you say no to someone usually doesn't go very well. And the first couple of times you start telling people no, and you learn true relationships when you can say no and they still like you or they're still your friends. And I've cut ties with people in family before. I've cut ties with people who were long-term friends just because I realized that the relationship was a relationship of me constantly serving them, but never them serving me back or giving back to me. And that was probably the hardest lesson is there were some relationships that, you know, in hindsight, I wish would have turned out differently, but it was for a reason. I wouldn't have known that true side of people unless I learned to stand up for myself. I never had a voice growing up.
That's hard. That's hard. And now you found your voice and you are giving people space to find their own, which I think is super beautiful. I want to talk about your book because a lot of people, I mean, they may know, but in case you didn't know, Sherry's got a book and it's on Amazon. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So when I had the surgery, I was like I said, I was blogging all the time, and then when I started joining, I don't know if you can say it on here, the Book of Faces, and they had like all of their support groups on there. I remember I would like talk to people, and then people would be like really grateful because I would by then I was like 4 years out, and my husband was like, you know, you should write a book about it. I'm like, no one's gonna read a book about my shit. And then like you start talking to more people and you get more involved in the community, and then I would tell him I was like, you know what, I should write a book. And he goes, I keep telling you that. And then nothing happens because, again, you're afraid to put yourself out there. You're afraid of being judged. And so I would just constantly put it on the back burner. And one day, I think it was like 2 years later, I said something. I was like, you know, I really should write a book. And my husband's like, how about you stop fucking talking about it all the time and just do it? He's like, I'm really tired of you. He's like, so either do it or stop fucking bringing it up. And then I'm very stubborn. So I was like, F you, you know? So I was like, I'm gonna go write a book. And I went into the office and I stormed in there and I sat at the computer and I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know how to do this. Like, I've never written a book before, but I had all those blogs. And so I just kind of went through all my blogs and remembered all of these different stories and stuff. And I had always told myself that if I was going to ever tell my story, I was going to tell everything, like regardless of how people were going to judge it or not. Like I wanted to talk about the constipation part of it. I wanted to talk about the hair loss. I wanted to talk about the emotional, I wanted to talk about crying over Little Caesars, you know, and I didn't know who was going to want to read it. But for me, it was so cathartic to be able to relive your past and live through it in a different lens now, because I was so far removed from that. But being able to go back and reflect on all of the trials and tribulations, on everything that you went through, and to see where you are today, it was probably one of the most therapeutic things personally that I'd ever done. And then at one point, I didn't know if I was going to publish it. Because, yeah, and then like a month after I wrote it, my husband and I got separated, and my world just came crashing down. And I was like, how am I going to write a book that talks about this love story that we had, and then it wasn't real? And he, of all people, said it was real. Everything that you felt was true to you. Like, just because we're not together at the moment doesn't mean you shouldn't tell your story. And so that was my way of healing from heartbreak, was I put all of my energy morning, noon, and night into that book.
Wow. That's beautiful, though. I know that, unfortunately, I mean, relationships come to an end. For different reasons. Some people blame it on the bariatric surgery. I have mixed feelings about that, because not all of it comes from the bariatric surgery, guys. I think sometimes they're just built-in situations. There are relationships that come to an end very amicably. So I think that was nice that he affirmed you in that way about the book, because it is your truth, and that was where you were in that time. So
yeah, and I know that there's a huge statistic with relationships ending after bariatric surgery. I don't think it's the bariatric surgery that causes it. I honestly think that bariatric surgery, because you're no longer using food to get through your emotions, it brings everything now to the surface that you didn't think was there before. Like, a lot of our past traumas, a lot of our past issues, the reason we turn to food for comfort, all comes to the surface with no way to get it out. And a lot of these relationships had all of these red flags or had all of these bad things in them, but we were so either wildly insecure with who we are, we didn't think we could do better, or we were just in a dark place. We hadn't leveled up yet, that we didn't realize that it was more harm than good. And so I think that people will blame it on surgery. I do think in some cases, some people lose a ton of weight and they forget who they were. You know, I think you spend your whole life never being noticed, and then all of a sudden people are noticing you and you get all of this attention. And so I understand the why things happen post bariatric surgery. It doesn't mean I condone certain actions or whatever, but I understand the psychology as to why we do that. We never had this attention before. And then all of a sudden you're getting all this really good attention, and you're at home and you're like, well, he or she's not giving it to me. But what we're not realizing is these people are just filling a specific void in your relationship. Just one element of your relationship that might be off. One person might be filling this immediate void. They're not filling the entire picture. Right. And so we get caught up in like the fantasy part of it. And that's why I think a lot of relationships start to kind of derail after that.
Oof, preach. She just preached the good gospel here, y'all.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because I see it's Unzip the book, but we have Unzip the podcast, right?
We do. So the podcast originally started for bariatric, and I did it for about 2 years. And after about 2 years, we all have the same fundamental, issues with what, like, we had overweight. We were overweight. We had surgery, or many of us don't have surgery. Some people are doing GLP-1s or doing their own journeys and stuff. But I wanted to focus on more like the big picture after a while. So I started transitioning it more into mindset. And I didn't want it to be specifically pigeonholed to just the bariatric, even though the bariatric community is so huge. Once you've had bariatric surgery, you're a patient the day you have surgery. After that, you're no longer a bariatric patient. You are just Shar. You're just whoever. Yeah. And now you just have to become your person. So what do we do after that? What happens next? And what happens with maintaining it for like Leonda, I saw her in the comments. She's over 20 years post-op. Like, how does she keep herself motivated 20 years later. I know what works for me. For me, the base foundation is always going to be mindset. But it's not even just about that. I wanted to talk to people who've overcome any major feat, whether it was cancer or some kind of medical issue or some kind of financial crisis that they didn't think they were. I wanted to give people hope that regardless of your situation, there's somebody out there who has a story that you can resonate with. Yes, ma'am. Progress over perfection.
Shout out to Leonda. She's a cheerleader for everyone in this community. Definitely in the comments. She don't care. She will be in your comments uplifting you, whether you want it or not.
That's
so take
right.
take the love. No, I love that. I love that. And to that point, because that is something that I hear a lot of times people, they make, even me, like my page is VSG Bestie. I am not just my VSG surgery. I don't think a lot of people even call me VSG Bestie anymore. They just call me Bestie or Shar. And so I'm like, maybe I should rebrand. And I'm like, wait, but everything you're talking about, I don't even really talk about my surgery anymore. Most of what I talk about is mindset related, looking at how to overcome some of the hurdles that come with past traumas. So these are the things I'm talking about. And I'm like, did I put myself in a little hot little bubble being the VSG Bestie? But I'm like, you know what? No, because while this is part of my journey, I can talk about all things. Like right now, a lot of the things we're talking about, we're talking mindset, right? These are things you could apply to your day-to-day life. You don't even have to be a bariatric patient or a GLP-1 person. This is relatable to all people, which is why I love that, because your MOBA mentality kind of talks about that a bit. I know that you have your apparel. Can you tell us a little bit about where MOBA even stemmed from? Was this like one of your brainchilds? Where did this brain baby come from?
So what's funny is I used to say master of badassery for years, just as a joke. Like when I was going to college in my 30s, my husband would get mad because I would beast through the paper at the 11th hour. I didn't read the book. I would just bullshit my way through it. And he goes, he's like, how do you do that? He's like, and I'm like, because I'm a master of badassery, duh. And it just started as a joke. Now during the pandemic, in March, everything got shut. California was one of the first states to get shut down entirely. And I couldn't go to work. I couldn't do anything. I went to the fridge 4 times in the course of an hour. I binged 3 full series in 3 days. And by the end of day 3, I had a full-blown panic attack. And I had already had a nervous breakdown many years before. And I was like, I cannot go back. So I called my sister-in-law who worked at a Walgreens. And I said, get me a job, because I cannot sit at home. If I sit at home, I am going to gain all my weight back. I am going to mentally deteriorate. I can't live like this. So she got me a job at a Walgreens. And I didn't realize at the time how bad it was to go back into retail after 20 years and to go back into retail in the middle of a worldwide pandemic where I was getting yelled at on a daily basis because I didn't have sanitizer. I didn't have the right thermometer they wanted. We didn't have the right toilet paper. We only had 1 ply left because nobody wanted that. It was insane how negative people were and how angry they were. And I remember thinking I don't even need this job right now. Why am I putting up with this? But I knew that if I stayed home, I was going to deteriorate. So I was like, I have 2 options. I can keep bitching about this, or I can find a solution. So one night I was working, this guy came in, he was wearing his mask, he had a fucking attitude, and he was looking down, and I said, I have an opportunity to do something different. So I was like, hey, I said, hypothetically, everything's open right now. The restaurants are open. Where are you taking me for dinner, dude? And he looked up, he's like, what? And I was like, oh, abort mission. And I was like, hypothetically, everything's open hypothetically. The restaurants are open. Where are we going for dinner? And he actually thought about it, and he said, Maria's. And I said, oh my God, the Mexican place. And then we started talking about the fajitas, and we were talking about the margaritas. And then all of a sudden, you can tell in his eyes that his whole demeanor changed. And it was the first time in months, there was a glimmer of hope that this is not going to be for the rest of our life, that this is just temporary. So we started shooting the shit. And so when he left, I was like, either it was a fluke or maybe we're onto something here. So everybody who came to the register that night, I asked them the same question. And one by one, every attitude was changing. And so I came home and I was telling my husband about that. I was like, dude, I was a fucking master of badassery tonight. I changed all their fucking opinion. I was so excited. And he goes, you should put it on a shirt. I'm like, no one's gonna buy that shit if I put it on a shirt. He goes, I think you should put it on a shirt and just see what happens. And I was like, all right, fine. There's nothing else to do. So I know nothing about the clothing industry. I know nothing about how to create logos or whatever. And he's like, well, you did it with the book. You can do it with some clothing. And I'm like, bet or whatever. So then by December of 2020, we had our logo and our very first shirts made. And we just kind of started putting it out on Facebook at the time because there was no TikTok. And then that's just kind of how it started. And then right before I joined TikTok, I was doing events, I was doing shows, but nothing was coming to fruition. We would do shows that were 12 hours. We made a $6 sale because like there was no promotion for the show, or there would be like nobody coming. And after 3 bad shows and hundreds of dollars, and you spend all this money on product, I was like, there's nothing I can do with this anymore. I said, I think we should hang it up till the end of the year and then find a way to just, clearance it out and just get rid of it. And then Bobby Davenport was on live in the bariatric community, and he was on my podcast, and so he brought me up on his live. And this guy Dan from Canada, we were shooting the shit, and Dan said, "Hey, that's a cool hat. Where'd you get it?" And it was one of the MOBA hats, and I was like, "Oh, it's kind of like my brand or whatever." And Dana goes, "Is there a website?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's a website, like." And he went on that night and he placed an order. And it was the first order I had in probably over 6 months. And I was so excited. I packed it like at 2:00 in the morning. I packed that thing right then and there. And then a week later, he got his order. He made a video on TikTok on this new app I was on. And then 2 more people placed orders from that video. And then they made videos, and then more people. And then all of a sudden it just took off from there. And it so that when TikTok was going away, I was initially devastated because this brought MOBA back to life. I wasn't going to do it. I was going to hang it up entirely.
Wow. Sherry, you gave me fucking goosebumps. I didn't sign up for that shit. But literally, wow. No, like the young people say, no cap. Seriously, because what it tells me is sometimes we think we're done with a thing. We've done all that we can do. And then it's all about timing. It's all about being in the right place, around the right people, being around good people who see what you're trying to build, right? Because not all the times when we're building things, people are going to see it. And I'm very much of the thought process, it's not their business to see it because the vision came from you, right? So I love that fucking happened because literally you were done. You're like, this shit is
done. I was 100% done. We only had a couple of items. We had some hoodies and some shirts and a couple of hats and stuff. And I was like, I spent thousands and thousands. We had no money left. We were done. And so I was like, I'll never forget. It was October. And I told Eric at the end of the year, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just not worth it. Even though I loved it. And when I was in front of people and people could see it, because the cork hat, the hats were made out of cork, oh my God, my favorite. They were unique and they were conversation starters. So whenever I was in front of people talking about it, they would always buy something because they loved the idea. But if you can't get in front of people, I was like, I'm good, And I'm a firm, everything's for a reason, and I'm a firm believer of that. And even though this year has been the most challenging year for me on personal levels, I know it's for a reason because I watched it with the reason that the book got published was because I got separated. I had nothing else to live for in that moment. I put everything in there. MOBA became what it is because I had nothing for it anymore. And then an app brought it all to life. And so I don't know what the next the next book I'm hoping will be out in the next couple of months, it's done. But the whole book is called Blindsided. It's about all the times in my life where I've had the rug pulled out from underneath me. And there's been many times where I've contemplated not being here anymore. And something has always happened in the moment that reminds me why I'm here and why I need to be here. And so it's definitely a lot more vulnerable than the other one, but I said for a reason.
Oh my gosh, Sherry. I'm so happy you are here because you don't realize you spoke life into somebody tonight. They're probably sitting in the chat and needing to hear what you had to say because it's so easy to throw in the towel with the situation that we find ourselves in economically. It's a hard time for a lot of people. It's also just politically a hard time for some folks. I also think just health wise, right? Like there's so much shit going on. Like I think it was like a measles outbreak or some crazy shit. There's always something happening. So it's really easy to be like, you know what? This shit is a lot. This is a lot. I'm always like, I'm ready to leave the country, to be honest with you. I'm like, I'm getting the fuck up out of here. Like I'm leaving the country. But shit is happening everywhere. So it's not really about escaping your reality, is really just like facing it, right? In a sense, like facing your demons, for lack of a better word, because that's kind of what I call them, where we're in a really dark space or in a dark place, and really weathering that storm, getting past those hard times, because you know in that hard time there's a lesson, there's something to extract from it. That difficulty is building your character. And
100%.
1000%, because I feel like in the times that I felt so devastated, I'm like, why the fuck am I going through this? And I had to reframe that thought process. This isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. There's something in this situation that I need to take from. And if I'm going to allow myself to go through this situation and see it all the way through, I'm going to leave with a fucking lesson. Because after all this pain, like something good got to come out of this shit.
I'm like, the only reason I'll share it is because I did write about it in the book. But in my darkest moment, I deleted all the contacts in my phone, and I went to the park it was 4:00 in the morning or whatever, and I did not want to be here anymore. And there was not one person that I could think of in my contacts that could have talked me off that ledge that day. And I turned to, special phone number or whatever, and they put me on hold for like 20 minutes. And I was like, this is my luck. I can't even get the help that I need. And after 20 minutes, and you're playing your entire life, like who's even going to fucking care? Like who's going to do whatever? And finally it was a chat, and the chat popped up and it says, are you in a safe space? And I went to click yes, and my phone froze. I could not type anything. I could not get out and come back in, nothing. And I was like, finally, I had somebody who was willing to listen to me, and it froze in this moment. And I remembered laughing, because I was like, of course, the last person I could possibly talk to today, and they can't even fucking talk to me because my phone froze. But the fact that I laughed in that moment told me there's still something in there. And I remember I got up and I went home and I changed and I went to the gym and I worked out harder than I took out every aggression, every emotion, every tear that I had, and I put it all in the fucking gym. And I realized that our true character is defined in our darkest, not when everything's going right. It is defined in our darkest moments. And if we have the power to dust ourselves up and not rely on somebody else to do it, it is then that you can fucking conquer anything that you set your mind to. And that has been, you asked me earlier, what is my why? That is one of my whys. I will never be on that park at 4:00 in the morning again, because that moment completely defined the second chapter of my life.
I literally cannot say it any better than that. Honest to God, I believe that wholeheartedly, that in your darkest hours, to Sharon's point, is when you will see the most growth, the most development. Please see it through. Please thug it out. Whatever it is, I don't care how hard it is. I don't care how painful it is. Just stay. Just stay. Just please stay. I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who's about to throw in the towel. I don't know who's been contemplating giving up. We need you here. Your story is going to matter to someone. Your story could potentially be saving a life. Your story is needed to be heard. Your voice needs to be heard. A lot of us have very similar stories when it comes to the bariatric journey, but there is no other Sherry. There is no other Shar. There is no other you. So please, I ask you, if there's any reason you want to stick it through, weather that storm, is because someone needs you. Someone needs you to, and it may not even be the people you think it is. Your story is going to impact a person you may not even know, a person who may never even be able to say thank you. But please see it through.
Please see it through, because I'm telling you, like, if I had chosen the latter, I wouldn't be here today. And I no longer say why me. If you knew what was going on in the last year of my life, like, I no longer say why me. I say why not me? Because obviously you're testing me. Sometimes it's like, do you really have to test me this much in a single day? Like, there's only so much. I was like, but apparently I'm not as strong as you think I'm capable of being, because you keep throwing shit after shit at me. and we all deal with things differently. But there's nobody watching this right now or later. There's nobody here in the chat who has never had a bad day or has had like a death that has rattled them or had a health scare that has made them question everything. None of us are immune to it. We are not immune to tragedy. We are not immune to change. We are not immune to bad shit happening to us. But how we handle it, how we adapt to it, how we utilize that to fuel us is, like I said earlier, that is going to determine how we come out of it.
That fucking part. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that. I love that. Oh my God. I wish I could have more than an hour, but I do want people to find you. Where can they find all of the amazing things you're doing? I know you said you have a book coming up. Do you have a date yet? Or I don't want to put any pressure on you if you don't have a date yet.
The goal is I'm trying to find an editor right now. Like, the book is done. I just need to find an editor. I have somebody who's going to help me with the book cover. So I'm hoping, my goal projected date was March 31st. It might be closer to April, but within the next 6 to 8 weeks, I hope to have it like actually published and ready with it. I know nobody wants to fly on a plane with me because of flight, but that's fine. Everything can be found on mobamentality.com or masterofbad-assery.com. All of our product is on there. The podcast is on there. Unzipped is on there. The challenges are on, like, everything you can find on that site.
Nice.
Or you can message me. I respond to everybody.
She does. Links are always going to be in the bio. What's up, Bobby? We were talking shit about you. No, I'm just kidding.
Talking mad fucking shit about you.
So you guys, make sure you check out Moba Sherry's links in bio. Sherry's fucking amazing. I'm so happy we've had this conversation because it's been in the making, it's been in the works, and it finally happened. Shout out to Rab, because he was the one that was like, you gotta talk to Sherry. You're gonna love her. She's just as badass as you are. And I was like, I don't know. Not with the workouts. You got me beat, friend. I'm gonna get there one day. I'm gonna grow up and come to your channel and do my thing over there.
Here's the thing. I get a lot of messages all the time that people are afraid to do it because they can't do it. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter where the fuck level you are at. You start somewhere and you increase from there. Because let me tell you something. I had people doing MOBA challenges. There was a woman who passed away. Was it Gloria? Gloria was in a wheelchair and she was on oxygen and she could not do the plank challenges with us. But what she did do is she came up on that panel and she held herself up in her wheelchair for the duration that we were doing it. And then when she got to a point that she was able to get out of the wheelchair, she did her first wall sit. It might not have been perfect, but I watched somebody in real time be able to do things that she was told she would not be able to do. And was she at the same level as other people? No, but she was at Gloria's level. You were on Char's level. So whatever level you are, I did start on squats myself from a chair a year ago. I wasn't doing regular squats. My knees have been trashed from years of damage, but it doesn't matter. Just get on the fucking live with me one day, just once, and then you'll be hooked and you'll come and do it again with us.
Okay. Yes, rest in peace, Glow. I love Glow. Glow is the most popular woman in this community. I'm gonna be honest with you. She knew people that I'm like, how the hell you know this person, Glow? And she can hang. Don't get it twisted. Glow was in these lives turning up with me. So God rest her soul. She is definitely a cheerleader for everyone in this community. You guys, this conversation has been so good. We went past the hour, but that's okay because it was absolutely positive. No, you're good. You're good. Everything it happens for a reason, right? We said that. So
for a reason.
There's extra time. Someone needed it, and I'm happy to do that. And I'm always make space for Sherry. So Sherry, anytime you want to pop up in here, and even if I have somebody else on the show, you can be my guest co-host because I love you. Like, I'm upset. The energy, like, I got goosebumps at least 17 times in this conversation. I swear. I don't bullshit. Like, I'm a Taurus. I'm very fucking blunt. So I will tell you, you are awesome. And I commend you on all that you do. I love that you are so transparent, so vulnerable, but strong because, like, the fuck? Like, this girl can do some shit and still, like, you have the energy to give to others. And that is admirable. So thank you for giving me a little slice of your time. I know we talked a little bit about your gear and all that. There is a giveaway. Am I right about that?
There is a giveaway.
Okay. What are we talking about, Sherry?
I was gonna put together like a little like a $50 mystery bag. I was gonna maybe put like a shirt in there and a hat. I didn't know like what kind of a giveaway you were doing. I didn't know like if you wanted a size or just something generic. So
Yeah, so look, this is what we'll do because a lot of folks popped in here. I'm gonna put up a video right after the live because we're gonna look at the analytics. I told you guys if you stick with me through the night and you show my girl Sherry some love, that I will definitely bring the love right back. So I want to add a little something to that too. So Sherry's got some gear for you. I got some calciums. These shits are fucking good. These are the ProCare Mocktail Vitamins calciums. So I'm going to throw this in. Sherry's got some merch for you guys. I'm going to throw in some calcium for you and a multivitamin. Do I have it right here? Yep, I do. And I'm going to throw these in too. So you get some calciums and some multivitamins and some MOBA gear. So we're going to take a look and see who rocked out with us. And I don't know if my moms have the answer already. If not, we can just do the video. If you guys have it in the chat, you know who was shown love the whole time, feel free to drop it in the chat. If not, we can revisit it later and put up the video. Either way, I want to thank everyone in the chat. You guys have been so freaking awesome.
a lot of comments tonight. I love it.
Yeah, the chat was on fire. You guys had really great questions, a lot of uplifting each other. What's up, Dee Dee? So Road Dog, you were awesome. Stevie, I saw you in there. Jessica, W.P. Barry, Tony D, Drew, Arisa. I love you guys. Kia was in the mix. What's up, kick ass? So
Tony was the champ.
Listen, okay. Look, all right. So I guess we'll look at it later and see who was on fire. We'll look out for the post. So you have to make sure you're following me, and you have to make sure you're following MOBA Sherry's page, so that way you can see who won. Because I'll tag her in it, and we'll repost it so you don't miss your giveaway. Right? So with that being said, y'all know I have to close it out with a quick little word of affirmation. So I have to grab my glasses. Here we go. People throw shade on what shines, but friends, when in doubt, shine brighter. Thank you guys. Can someone snap a picture of us because we look so cute, and I can send it to Sherry.
I love it.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, chat. We'll be back live. Actually, tomorrow we're going to do our walk in the morning. So make sure you chime in with that. We're going to be walking and talking and motivating. So make sure you check in with us. Thank you again, Sherry. Thank you, chat.
Thank you so much.
Sunday, my loves.